Welcome to a very, very special Bad Influence. Last week, the most awaited console ever was launched in Japan, the Nintendo Ultra 64. Naturally, Violet Berlin and the Bad Influence crew were there for an exclusive first look.
Yes, it's finally here, and after reporting on the console, its unique controller, and the game.
We'll be looking at pets you can keep in cyberspace with my newest pal Harvey here, and our main review is Vector Man on the Mega Drive. Yep, they're cute. But the trouble with pets is they're so messy. They get hairs on the sofa and leave other things on the carpet. What you really need is an interesting pet that keeps you busy without ruining the furniture.
And here's the answer, Cyber Pets. I've converted this monitor into an aquarium using some software called Aquazone, which in fact is almost too realistic. It's supposed to take 2 days to put the water in, let it settle down, but I've cheated that ever so slightly. I've got my water in already using some special conditioner. I've put my gravel in as well, so now we can start to build the aquarium. Let's start with a new backdrop. How about Milky Way? Yep, that's nice. Now, every good aquarium has a galleon or a little tea chest or something in it, doesn't it? So let's find something to put in the aquarium. How about a statue? There's the thinker, but I'm not absolutely happy as to his position in the aquarium, so I can move him around. Using this overhead view of the tank, I can pick up my statue and just move him to the back there. Now we need some vegetation. We'll have 3 jimmies. So there's my beautiful aquarium. Oh, fish! Sorry, fish. We'll start with catfish, I think. Serge here, who is 220 days old and a fella. And Serge is going to need a friend. What about another species of fish? Neon tetras. I've got to have a fish called Ron. Now, who to accompany Ron? What about Florence? And there it is. My aquarium is finished. But as any fish fancier knows, the art of keeping fish is in keeping them alive. So I have to make sure they're fed regularly and that the water is kept clean and at the right temperature. But if you get bored and you want to irritate them, you can use the mouse to knock on the tank. Ron! Hello, Ron! Ron!
I wouldn't want to be in that tank. If you want to experience what life's like from a dog's point of view, you can either get yourself a job as a researcher on Bad Influence or check out this new CD-ROM for the PC. It's called Pause, and it puts you in the driving seat of an overfed, flea-ridden, scarcely domesticated mutt with a taste for chasing cats and collecting bones. You are the brains behind the bark and have to guide the family pet around his world, performing all the tasks a full-time pup has to do in a day. There's a great animation which shows you exactly how a real dog works, in all its gory detail. Now you see everything in your animated world through the dog's eyes, just by clicking on these icons here, which turn straight forward, and once he gets to the right door and makes the appropriate bark, then food arrives. It's a dog's life, isn't it? How are your fish, Andy?
They're fine, thank you, Sonia, or at least there will be if I feed them. So let's give them 5 pinches of standard flaked food. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we should see that coming to the top of the tank. Yeah, normally fish go swimming off for a big scran up. We'll come back and find out how they're getting on a bit later. In fact, I'll see you later, Ron. Never mind. Our main review this week is Vector Man on the Mega Drive. Vector Man is a brand new breed of robot superhero. Constructed from elastic material, he can morph into rockets, trains, and even fish that look strangely frog-like. Vector Man's task is to save the Earth from a group of rogue cleaning robots left behind by mankind when they scarper to the stars to avoid pollution. With us so far, well, here's Paul with his opinion of the game.
This is an excellent platform shoot-'em-up. Very challenging, I really enjoyed it. This is level 2, one of the water worlds. The basic aim of this game is to shoot everything. There are lots of monitors to shoot. These give you power-ups and bonuses. I've just collected a morph. This turns me into a bomb. This will help me blow through this entrance into a secret level. On each level, there are lots of bonuses and power-ups to collect. They give you all the usual stuff. Better weapons, more energy, and time bonuses. Brilliant, I've got the fish morph. This is the best one for this level. Some of the individual boss runs are really good fun. This boss is called Warhead. I've had to morph into a train to fight him. There's a good selection of weapons and levels, and the graphics should excite Mega Drive owners. It's really playable.
It's refreshing to see a character that's not based on a film, but the gameplay is still average. The programmers have set out to make a good-looking platform shoot 'em up, and they've done it quite well.
And the scores for Vector Man, the boys gave it a pretty good 4, the girls an average 3.
Good scores for Vector Man. Now, a history lesson. 3 years ago, when Bad Influence first started and Violet Berlin's hair looked like this, these were the consoles available to the happy gamer. The two 8-bit machines were the NES and the Master System. They ran rather flat, two-dimensional games like Super Mario Bros. On the NES and New Zealand Story on the Master System. More advanced consoles were the two 16-bit machines, the Mega Drive and the SNES. They had more colour and more depth in their games. Games like Sonic on the Mega Drive and one of my all-time favourites, Super Mario Kart on the SNES.
2 years ago, Violet's hairstyle looked like this, and the first Super Console arrived, the 3DO. Unlike earlier machines, it was designed to sit in the living room rather than the bedroom, and it could play music CDs and photo CDs as well as play games. And last year, the hairstyle looked like this, and the 3DO was joined by the Jaguar from pioneering games company Atari. These next-generation machines are much faster than the 16-bit consoles and are capable of producing great graphics like those found in Total Eclipse on the 3DO and Iron Soldier on the Jaguar.
Which brings us bang up to date. 1995 was the year the big boys came out to play, starting in June when Sega launched the Saturn with games like Daytona USA. Then in September came the Sony PlayStation with probably the best beat-em-up ever in the shape of Tekken. And now, to fill this gap, Nintendo will be launching the Ultra 64. The game was first shown publicly in Japan last week, and Violet Berlin, complete with her 1995 haircut, was there.
This is the Shushinkai show in Tokyo. It's the biggest games event of the year, and everyone's talking about just one thing, the Ultra 64.
I feel like I've gone to heaven. You wait years to see one Ultra 64 and then 100 all come along together. But a big letdown, only 2 playable games, Kirby Bowl and Super Mario 64, and both were only half finished. So, although the console is firing on all cylinders, the games are still not ready. That didn't deter the thousands of journalists and games publishers who came to see the latest Super Console. So why was this such an important event?
Well, quite simply, Nintendo are the biggest video games company in the world and also the most successful. They've always made the best hardware, so no one can afford to ignore their new 64-bit consoles. This was supposed to be the official launch, but there was still a lot of secrecy. When we asked nicely, they gave us permission to film. Well, sort of. I'm so excited. I've been waiting over a year to get my hands on this new console, and now I have. All I've got to do is work out how to play it. The controller has got 3 handles, so you can either hold it like that in the normal way, or like this using the D-pad and the thumbstick, or, as I'm doing in this Mario game, like this. And there are buttons everywhere, on the top, at the sides, and even underneath. Right, here goes. Wish me luck.
So here it is. Super Mario 64. And yes, you are watching the game screen. Amazingly, this is not a rendered graphics demo. It's what you get when you play the game. The images are detailed, smooth, and easily superior to anything currently available. What's even more astounding is that Super Mario 64 is a genuine 3-dimensional platformer, because you can take the little plumber just about anywhere you want to go within this graphic world. Inside the main room in the castle are several doors that lead you off into the different game areas. This is a beautiful underwater level, and as you swim around, you start to appreciate just how different the game is. You really feel as though you're free to explore the entire area. I have never before played a game with such a rich 3D environment where you can choose your view and have complete control over where you go. Forget your rock-hard beat-em-ups and rubber-burning races. Super Mario 64 is a launch game that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, not bad for a first go. But you know, it's really difficult to make a judgment about the Ultra 64. For a start, the games aren't finished yet. And secondly, it's just so different from anything I've ever played.
Nintendo have placed a lot of faith in the new controller. They hope the design will encourage developers to invent entirely new ways of playing video games. And there's another revolutionary idea tucked away underneath.
This is a new kind of memory card, and it plugs in there.
The card can store customised game or controller settings, and you'll be able to save information on an individual's style of gameplay. So in theory, you'll be able to play against your friends even when they're not there. At least we think that's it. Our instruction book had been translated directly from the Japanese. But as we always say on Bad Influence, never mind the hardware, feel the gameplay. Unfortunately, all the other Ultra 64 games at the show were only on video. Ones to look out for, though, are Blastozer, a sort of construction robot zig-em-up from the team that brought you Donkey Kong Country, and Star Wars: Shadow of the Empire, which is being made by Lucasfilms, the creators of Star Wars. So, was it worth the wait? Well, yes and no. The Ultra 64 is an exciting new console with incredible potential, but it's clearly behind schedule. The lack of finished games at the show was a serious disappointment. The new plan is that the console will finally make it into the shops in the USA and Japan next April.
The latest news is that the Ultra 64 should be available in this country in spring 1996. The power of the new super consoles is best appreciated in the 3D fighting games like Tekken, Virtua Fighter and Toshinden. The 3D backgrounds can be viewed from a multitude of angles and are very realistic, and the detail on the figures is astonishing. Ellis in Toshinden even has translucent trousers. In fact, the characters are nearly perfect in every respect except one. Can you spot it? If you look closely, you'll see that instead of hair, they have a clump of stuff on their head. It's shaped like hair, it's coloured like hair, but it doesn't really look or move like real hair.
The average head has thousands of individual hairs on it, so it's been impossible to realistically model it on a 3D character. Until now. We've had enough fun with Violet's hair for today, so we're going to scan my head and use it as our model.
So you'll have to sit incredibly still and no talking, please, just for a change. This 3D scanner creates a wireframe model of Sonia's head. It's equipment used by computer and special effects companies to create 3D wireframe models. There's a laser in there that does the scanning. There's also a video camera which records the skin tone and colour of Sonia's head. And the finished results end up on this computer. There she is, and just to show you that it is 3D, I can move her around a bit. I can redraw her from that angle. And there's 3D virtual Sonia looking from the left. That wireframe model of Sonia has also been loaded into this incredibly powerful computer, along with some software called, and I kid you not, CompuHair, which is what I'm going to use to design Sonia's new hairstyle. At the moment, Sonia doesn't have any hair at all. She doesn't have any skin either, well, not that worries. Let's just give Sonia a little bit of hair. Not terribly natural looking at the moment, I'm sure you'll agree. But the good thing about this software is it tracks and calculates the movement of each individual hair dependent on different circumstances that I can program in. So if the hair's too stiff, you just adjust the stiffness quotient and it should begin to look a bit more natural. Now, not long enough really though, is it? It's a bit short for Sonia. There we are. That's more like a natural length. It's beginning to hang a bit naturally, but it needs to be a bit curlier, I think. So at the bottom here, we can make her hair much, much curlier. Now, at the moment, she's obviously only got about 10 hairs, and in reality, Sonia has 80,000 hairs on her head. You don't have to program 80,000 different hairs. Once you've decided the factors that you want, you can just tell the computer to give Sonia some more hair. The true test, though, has to be how this computer-generated hair would react in inclement weather. What, for example, would it be like if it was a windy day? Well, we can test that out just by increasing wind intensity. And even here on this little wireframe model, I'm sure you can see that the hair is behaving like it might do on a windy day. This is just the wireframe model though, but now through the magic of television, I can show you how virtual Sonia and her new hairstyle would look with beautifully rendered graphics.
Take 2 bottles into the shower? Not me. That sort of computer-generated hair will soon be seen in video games like Donkey Kong Country 2. But now for some more of this week's games releases, reviewed by our expert panel.
Attack of the mutant penguins on the Jaguar has the Earth under siege from a horde of rather stupid aliens. Apparently, they were under the impression that the best way to infiltrate society was to come disguised as penguins. Luckily, they soon realised their mistake and donned human disguises as well. It is your task to destroy these aliens disguised as penguins dressed as humans, using diverse weapons like dynamite, frying pans and glue. The Jaguar has lacked a really good game for a while now. Will Attack of the Mutant Penguins redress the balance? Here's Lakesh.
The idea sounded very original, and I was looking forward to playing it. Unfortunately, it was too frustrating to play and impossible to get to grips with. Even after reading the instructions, the aim of the game is not very clear. You're supposed to stop the mutant penguins from reaching the doom scale. To do this, you must capture the little blue gremlins and use them to power penguin-killing machines and open chests to find weapons and power-ups. When you start playing, the game is unrewarding and unforgiving. Even on the first few levels, the aliens often win before you really know what's going on. You've got to be in exactly the right place on the screen to open chests and use machines, which makes the game really frustrating. The gameplay is repetitive. Catch the gremlins, feed the machines, all the while trying to find your weapons. It seems like they're trying to recreate the atmosphere of Lemmings, but they haven't come close to succeeding. From the moment you pick it up to the moment you throw it in the bin, you'll hate it.
What a waste of time. Take away the cute graphics and this game has got nothing going for it.
What a disappointment. This one missed the mark.
And the scores for Attack of the Mutant Penguins, the lowest possible. Ones. A definite don't buy.
A chance to sharpen your reflexes as Zook slips onto the SNES and most other formats this week. It's a new puzzle game where you have to defend the centre square from rows of multicoloured shapes. You get rid of the advancing shapes by shooting at ones that are the same colour as the centre triangle, but you have to be fast as they come at you from 4 directions. Is it as confusing to play as it sounds? Here's Aisha with the SNES version.
It's another addictive puzzle game, not quite up to the standard of Tetris and Bomberman, but it's a great idea that should go down well on all consoles. There are several different power-ups you can collect. One of them's a spring, which I've just collected. You collect 5 of these and you clear the board. Also, there's colour bombs. When you collect a colour bomb, which I just have done, the next colour that you shoot, it clears all those in the same square. Part of the gameplay is to change the colour of the triangle. You do this by shooting a shape of a different colour to the triangle already. You get the maximum points by zooping a whole line of the same coloured shapes for the triangle. At the start of the game, it's best to let the lines build up so you can get loads of points while the game's still flowing. It's a simple idea but very effective, although I would have liked a bit more variation in the gameplay.
It's one of those games that you'll find frustrating, but you'll just keep coming back for more.
This is a really fast game which needs fast reactions. It's wonderful and extremely addictive.
And the scores for Zoop, proving that the gameplay is more important than the graphics, are 4 from both the boys and the girls.
Sonia would like this week's competition prize. It's this puppy. We'll send it to you in a padded envelope. No, I'm only joking. It's actually a Mega Drive with a copy of Vector Man. And the competition question is, what breed is this puppy? Is it A, a Golden Retriever, B, an Alsatian, or C, a Dalmatian? Give us a call with your answer on 0891 800 300. That's 0891 800 300. The call will cost you no more than 25p. Lines will stay open until midnight on Sunday, but do please get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you dial, and we always check to make sure you have.
And remember, you can't win if you don't ask permission. Now, the competition prize 2 weeks ago was a PlayStation with a copy of the original new game Worms, plus this football signed by football stars Andy Cole and Lee Clark. And we asked, how long was the longest earthworm ever found? The answer is an astonishing 7 meters. Now, we had over 14,500 entries, but the lucky winner is Martin Crooks from Sheffield. 10 runners-up get Bad Influence Bad Crew t-shirts, and their names are running across the screen now.
So well done to you. Next week, Violet Berlin checks out an air sea rescue simulator with star guests in the shape of the Gladiators and some coin-op conversions in the studio. But we'll leave you with more of those Ultra 64 games. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
With the fish, Andy.
Well, things were going really well, but now they're not. And my fish are dead, look. There's one, look, and then there's Ron lying in stinks. I think I need a bit more practice with the thermostat. Sorry.
I think I'll